Right, ladies and gentlemen, here in Race Spec. Sorry, we are starting off with a quick one. Shot qualifying, but we are finally underway. Leviton towards Mirabeau at turn 5. Once again going down in elevation. Good rotation through the orange and black car in VAR, and once again through the hairpin. RBR 9707 takes P1 and takes provisional pole. Takes P1, takes pole. So right now he is on provisional pole as he continues through this lap time. Let's go up a position. RBR in the Alpine liveried F2 car, ART GP supplying that one. Turns 10 and 11, chicane out of the exit, loses a significant amount of time, loses P2 to Roscoe Arm, and P1 back to Levi Tiger Pants. Out of the exit of turn 12 of Tebek, now going into turn 13, 14, 15, and 16, which are all a part of the swimming pool chicane. Now going through turn 18 of Larascas, turn 19 of Anthony Nohes, and onto the main straight. Levi Tiger Pants, with no shadow of a doubt, does take P1 of a 1:25.56, which is actually slower than the fastest time ever recorded in Formula 2, which was a 1:19.309 back in 2017 by Charles Leclerc for Prema Racing. Unfortunate, but actually VAR did miss out, didn't he? Yeah, he was. Unfortunately, RBR caught him right on the line, 3200 separating them, and Matt Plevey was close as well. ART Grand Prix finished in P3 on the board, 1:26.36. Really close distances between those three, and moved down to P4 Virtuoso, Roscoe Arm P4, P5 Presso, P6 Banana Cake Pie, P7 Combined YT, P8 Seb Spicer, P9 Jabiza, P10 Snickers Bud, P11 Bags Liddell, P12 Ven, and P13 Blake Stevenson. So, unfortunately I didn't get to do much of an intro. Hopefully I'm not on mute by any chance. Doesn't look like it. How are we sounding on the stream audio wise? Do a quick radio check. Lovely. Sounds like we're all good, clear, sounding fantastic. Yeah, so now that we have a little bit of time to speak, my name's Jamie Perry, JPM13. You can call me JP, JPM13, Jamie Perry. Everything I just said. It does not matter. I don't mind. I don't even care if you pronounce it wrong, to be honest. Either way, we're here for two races, Monaco and Monza, starting off in Monaco and then off to Monza for the second and final race here in the F2 Sprint Series. Right, well, we've already finished OSQ. When OSQ comes to an end, there's only one thing left to do, and that's do a 35% race. So we'll go through it. So you have a one-shot qualifying. Race 1 will be 35%, and then a mandatory top 10 reverse grid. Now that we're done with that, 5 red lights. The lights go out, and it's pedal to metal here in Monaco for the F2 Sprint Series. Looks like RBR gets a good getaway. VAR going wheel to wheel with Matt Plevey in P3. Can Matt Plevey make the move going through Sandoval? Contact being made between ART and VAR. VAR for the time being does stay in P2. Big collision at the back of the field. Looks to be a spin by one of the drivers. Blake Stevenson's got going once again. Combined YT seems to have a bit of damage. It looks like a left end plate front wing damage for P13. Unfortunate for Trident GP. Either way, moving back forward, you can see the Prema of Blake Stevenson trying not to go into the rear end of VAR of Ven, just seeing if there's any gap or slight opening going through turn 6 of Monaco hairpin. Does a fantastic job avoiding the collisions and continues on through the field. Right now there are only 2 tires you can choose in a race like this, 35% distance, and I shall tell you, there is only the softs and super soft compounds at your availability. Yes, pit stops will be mandatory after lap 2. So pardon me, you will need to box at least once in this race for it to count as an official finish. Looks like Blake Stevenson up to P10, making a move on Ven, but Ven still sticking to the rear tyres of Prema. Can Ven potentially come back at him? No, backs out of it, stays in P11 going through swimming pool chicane. Another contact to the barrier. Has he potentially got some, doesn't look like it for the most part. We'll have to have another look. No, he does. He does have end plate damage on the right hand side of the car, and unfortunately that will be front wing damage for the orange and black liveried F2 car. Looks like up in P8 High-Tech GP fighting away with Jabiza. Seb Spicer could get an opportunity here if he can get the outside line opening up. Looks like Jabiza had it covered. MP Motorsport doing a fantastic job so far covering off the high-tech GP car. For how much longer though? Looked at the inside line going into Mirabeau, didn't end up going for the move, so going into turn 6, will there be another opportunity going into the hairpin? No, bad entry, won't get the exit necessary, stays in P8. Let's have a look through the tunnel section. Looks like P1's already starting to fly away from the rest of the field. 1.4 seconds separating P1 and P2. Tell you what, these gaps are not lasting long. Levi Tiger Pants really has some time to catch up on, but so does Matt Plevey. Was 1 second, already 7/10's a fantastic exit out of the turn 10 and 11. Chicane Jabiza picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Now against his name. Looks like I have stops there. Now we have tires. Looks like everyone's gone for the soft compound tire. They'd be going for a one-stop, going little later on to go onto the super soft compounds. Like I said, they're the only 2 tires in the allocation this weekend, softs and super softs. Matt Plevey really redlining the car. They're getting up to the rev limiter. 121.989 RBR takes fastest lap of the race. DRS now enabled here around Monaco. The streets of Monte Carlo showing some entertainment here in F2 for the time being. Snickers Bud P12 making the move on Blake Stevenson, who now comes into the pit lane clearly for a front wing stop and also for a change of tires. It looks like super softs really early on for the Prema car. That won't last long though. Degradation is high on those super softs, even around a track like Monaco with so many slow speed corners like this one right here, turn 6 of the Monaco hairpin. We are all aware of it, but it is slow speed, allows for a tiny bit of saving. Now you go into another slow speed corner of turn 8 at Mirabeau. No, it's actually turn 8 at Portier. Turn 5 is Mirabeau. Now turn 9 through the tunnel section can, doesn't look like it. ARTGP will have to back out of it, breaks early, just tries to follow Van Amersfoort Racing a little closer before eventually making a move in another lap or 2. Continue with the Alfa Romeo car here, obviously Teo Porcher's F2 car, which is sponsored by Sauber, but not a Sauber driver, so to speak. He is a junior driver. However, either way, going to get DRS going onto the pit straight. Van Amersfoort Racing supplying Levi Tiger Pants a car here today. Ven with a 3-second time penalty, not having the greatest of races, just sneaking in some points in P10 for the time being. 1.2 seconds down on P9 for the time being. Just needs to keep an eye out for that. Doesn't look like it's worked so well out for VAR at the moment. Just waiting for an opportunity. ART's thought about sneaking it in, had to back out of it before there was another opportunity. Let's move further down. Looks like Seb Spice is once again getting nice and close to the rear diffuser of Jabiza. Not close enough to make a move. Stays in P8 for the time being. But I'll tell you what, Seb Spicer and Jabiza really starting to spice up. Pun on Seb Spicer's last name if you got the pun. Either way, in P8 is where he stays until there can be an actual opportunity for the 2 Red Bull liveried F2 cars to eventually get an opportunity. Blake Stevenson up to P12, going on the outside line out of the exit of Saint Devot. Great racing from the Prema as he makes another move. 2 super soft compound runners, but it wouldn't be great for Bags Liddell, who would have just come out of the pit lane. He'll have cold tires, but at least for F2 cars, they don't take as long. Much smaller, unfortunately, did not release throttle. Bags Liddell now has end plate damage on what was just in the pit lane. Unfortunate for Bags, who was now going to be on a massive disadvantage. Firstly, on rotation of the car, there will be less downforce, meaning it will be more draggy, meaning that it will be much harder to rotate the car as easily. Either way, the F2 clearly losing a significant amount of time on those super soft compounds. 1.4 seconds exactly. Blake Stevenson up to P12. He is well and truly in the distance, in the dust of Bags Liddell. Let's move further up. Looks like Seb Spicer getting nicer close to P7, but once again just not able to really close in the gap. And this is exactly what Monaco has to offer in these cars. Fantastic racing, close racing. Seb Spicer nearly went right into the rear end of Jabiza and MP Motorsport, but now in P7 stays where he is. No further advancements, and Seb Spicer stays in P8 for the time being. Looks like a lock-up from Jabiza. Could this be an opportunity for Seb Spicer to make a move? No, has to back out of it, stays in P8 for the time being, going through turn 6 at the Monaco hairpin. How's Matt Plevey doing? He's in P3, he's had DRS, 5.5 seconds ahead of Levi Tiger Pants, is P1 of RBR. He's really had a race of his own ever since the lights went out, and I'll tell you what, no one's actually been able to battle him away. Matt Plevey currently in P3, like I've said just before, but looking to try and get up into P2, going through swimming pool section. The swimming pool's actually right there. Car still just trying to fight as hard as he can, trying to bring himself closer and closer each lap, and the gap kind of equaling out by the time they reach the timing line. DRS is the only real advantage there, but one thing I have to say, Matt Plevy is really missing his gearing, really just redlining the car and reaching rev limit before eventually switching to gear. So Matt needs to get a bit more on top of that if he wants better gear shifts. Either way, let's move further down. Looks like 2 Alpine cars out on track. Exactly that. Either way, actually, no, it isn't that, is it? Might be. They could be inverted liveries, but no, it doesn't look like it. I think that is just the livery for Invicta Racing, so have to keep an eye out for that one. But right now, Preso currently on the rear end of Roscoe Arm, but 7.5 tenths separating P4 and P5. If he can get a bit closer, could be a nice opportunity. Blake Stevenson up to P11 as Snickers Bud comes into the pit lane. Bags Liddell could make the opportunity to make a move, has no problems around the outside, and Bags is up to P12 out of the exit of turn 1 at Saint Devot, going up to turn 2 towards what would have been Beau Rivage, and turn 3 of Massenet before turning right towards what is turn 4 of Casino. Then down to turn 5 of Mirabeau, and we continue on and on and on all the way until the race restarts all over again. Either way, Matt Plivy, P3, that gap is yet to come down. We thought potentially could have had a bit more pace in the bag. Either way, he's in a bit of a stalemate with Levi Tiger Pants in P2, continuing to bring himself closer and closer. That throttle absolutely smashed to the floor in those Formula 2 cars. Less weight, less width, less length than the F1 cars, and definitely speedy little things using V6 engines, not turbocharged, and they have no hybrid system, if you are wondering how they may sound a little different to the V6s in F1, but I'll tell you what, they are still very fun machines out on track, and a lot of enjoyment, I'm sure, for the drivers as they drive around one of the trickiest circuits on the Formula 1 calendar and the Formula 2 calendar, seeing we are driving in F2 cars. A lot of drivers on lap 7 of 15 coming into the pit lane for super soft compounds, and this is where we're going to start to see a bit of an interesting strategy come about it. Venn got a really good exit out of the pit lane. Blake Stevenson has 4-lap hold super soft compounds, so he's got a bit more temperature in there, but he has also got a bit of degradation on those super softs as well. Majority of the people who have got super softs have rather received damage or got a penalty against their name, which is normally probably the reason they're already coming into the pit lane. Like I said, after lap 2, coming into the pit lane is a mandatory thing. It is no longer something you can just choose to do. So in the case of those soft compound runners, eventually, once they make their choice to do so, they will need to come to the pit lane. They can do it I mean after lap 2 specifically, but after that point, they can do it whenever they want, however they want, as long as they get a pit stop done at least once in the Grand Prix. Looks like Lever Tiger Pants, P4, P5, P6, Banana Cake Pie is also coming in. Prezo's potentially going to make some decent moves out of this. No, it's Prezo's actually in the pit lane. It's Seb Spicer who actually makes the moves through the field. Banana Cake Pie, who might be making a move onto new tyres. Yes, he is super soft compound, as he now is out of the pit lane right there and then. So with majority of the field now on super soft compounds, looks like Levi Tiger Pants having a much higher gap compared to most of the field. Clearly was in P1 by a decent, or P2, sorry, by a decent distance. The real question is, now can Levi Tiger Pants keep position in P2, or could he reach even higher using the undercut strategy in his favor and the overcut on the rest of the field, so he could potentially make a move on RBR in P1. I'm sure RBR is actually standing for Red Bull Racing, but I'm not calling him Red Bull Racing and the entire acronym out loud, so we're just going to stick to RBR for the time being. We have two, actually, if you have a quick look as well, you have two ART GP cars in P1 and P2. 8.7 seconds behind is Matt Plevy in the ART to his ART teammate, but can he stay ahead? Yes, he will, because now Matt Plevy will get the opportunity to make a move up to P1, because RBR's in the pit lane. Super soft compounds now on the ART car, but another ART car now takes the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. Levi Tiger Pants also picks up a 3-second time penalty. P2, sorry, is now looking less and less likely for the VAR driver if he keeps doing what he's doing. Let's get some information about this track for you lovely people. So F2, obviously it's different from your normal F1 cars, as we've already stated. A bit more fun, a bit more slidey. They like to kick out a bit more easily. You need to be a bit more sensitive with the throttle. They have less torque, but because of their lightweight, because they're lighter on weight, and they have similar power compared to weight, it means that you get a similar weight to power ratio, meaning if you are a bit sensitive on the pedal, you're going to actually see the car be a bit more twisty on the circuit, if that makes a bit more sense. Also need to consider that because the front and rear wings and the overall downforce on the F2 cars is less. There's less downforce on the cars, and it will mean that you can get a bit more slippery and slidey out on track compared to the Formula 1 cars that have mainly focused on aerodynamic regulations. This is not to be counted out, however. Hopefully in F1 24, it should be in F1 24, because next year in Formula 2 there will be the new chassis regulations, new aerodynamic regulations, and if anyone's ever seen Super Formula, it is pretty much just a direct copy of the Super Formula chassis, and we can't really blame F2. It really is just supposed to be a spec series, and Super Formula isn't that, but using a similar chassis could offer some fantastic racing, and it would be very interesting to see how that all turns out. Levi Tiger Pants with the fastest lap, a 1:21.732 as the VAR makes it up to P2. RBR in P1, well and truly ahead of the rest of the field going into turn 4 of Casino. Now downhill and needs to avoid the bump. Doesn't do a great job of it though, getting his left-hand tires on the bump. Either way, shouldn't cause too much of an issue. 6.8 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Decent front tire lockup as he goes purple in the first sector through Monaco hairpin, but I'll tell you what, he is staying on top of it for the time being. Out of the exit of the next corner up to turn 8 through Mirabeau, once again Portier, now through turn 9, a tunnel out of the exit already, going into turn 10 and 11 chicane. Just needs to try and nail it. Doesn't nail it, but does a good enough job either way. 7.2 seconds behind now. 7.3. This could be changed if Levi does get a good exit. Does get a good exit. Fantastic driving right on the edge of the white line through 10 and 11 chicane, and he'll be very pleased with himself to get a time like that. More contact for Matt Plevey against the barrier through the exit of Tebek at turn 12. Now going through swimming pool chicane, and he has Prezo right behind him. 1.6 seconds. He has Roscoe Arm even closer to him. RBR 1:21.254 on the board. ARTGP is well and truly on a roll here in F2 Sprint Series, here in Race Spec. Fantastic job by the Alpine livery as he continues to try and fight through what has been a fantastic race. 4 laps remaining on the first race of 2, and then we can get into the grid formation for race 2. Looks like DRS nearly activating, but now you can see Trident coming into the pit lane. Potential damage for BCP or Banana Cake Pie, however you may call him, but he needs to get that sorted as soon as possible. And while we have the opportunity to just have a quick tiny break, I'm going to Right, back to the action, out on hand. You can see Ven in P8 bringing himself closer and closer to Jabiza in P7. Jabiza was fighting away with Seb Spicer for a decent couple of laps. Oh, big send down the inside, getting his rear tires locked up. Probably the wrong place to do so. He's going to send it once again. Over in Monaco, he's going to try and make a move through the Monaco hairpin. That was not the place to do it, Ven. You picked up a 3-second time penalty, and you still haven't made a move. Potential damage to the side pod of Jabiza, and potential end plate, or on the right-hand side at least, end plate damage to Ven and VAR. Not really the move you want to make, and not really the confidence you want to have around Monaco. You want to be cautious and wait for your opportunities, and you can force them, but I wouldn't suggest it because you have a much higher chance of picking up damage through turn 12. Let's stay on the battle here. VAR's right on the back of Jabiza, and clearly Jabiza struggling with pace even on those super soft compounds. I mean, they are starting to rot away here. 8 laps old for Blake Stevenson, still sticking with them. Another opportunity for VAR. VAR not taking it with both hands. Now DRS with open. If he can get a good exit, similar exit between the VAR and MP Motorsport. No close enough to make a move going in through Sant Devot, but he is going to be later on the brakes. Good rotation through Ven, gets on the throttle slightly earlier than MP Motorsport, and once again it starts all over again. A decent battle between these two. Slight bumping and slight dangerous maneuvers. This could be an opportunity. The inside line's wide open for VAR. Once again shuts off going through onto the right hand corner of Casino. Now through to Mirabeau. He is going to try and send the move. Doesn't get it done and dusted. Stays in P8 for the time being, but this is clearly starting to spice up throughout the field because Ven is being less and less patient. Roscoe Arm in P5 for the time being, 3.5 tenths off his teammate. Prezzo in P4, but just not able to get close enough to really secure the move in a done deal formation. Like I said before, only 2 tires people can be on, softs and super softs. They started on the softs, all of them are on the super soft. RBR started on P1, he's still P1. He nearly lost that P1 position. And imagine if Levi Tiger Pants did take it. That would have been an upset and a half for RBR, just being that close. Either way, Levi Tiger Pants now 10.2 seconds behind. RBR 10.3 seconds ahead. And he's well and truly cruising through the field. Even if he picked up a penalty at this point, it wouldn't affect his finish result by the end of this race. Seems all comfy and cozy for the Alpine ART GP F2 car. And for the time being, we'll have to wait and see how he continues to progress with 2 laps remaining. 3 if we include this one. Then up to P7. VAR making a move clearly through Sant Devot. Jabiza down to P8, and we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and the move is now secure for MP Motorsport. Jabiza must really be struggling with his tires or not have a real setup set. The setups for this, actually, by the way, something we should mention is there are no... more contact to the rear of Blake Stevenson. We saw an M plate go flying, and I wonder whose car that may have been. It could have been combined YT right at the back. Have a look at this. Blake Stevenson on the outside line, late on the brakes, and up to P9 goes the Prema driver. Fantastic driving. Really close action between these drivers. Really, really nice to watch, and better than what we saw from Tier 2 Endurance. Bags Liddell currently in P10, getting a really good slipstream and tow from the Prema driver. Does lose out slightly. Is he going to send it? He thought about sending it. Late on the brakes. Does not decide to send it at the end of it. Through 10 and 11, Chicane stays in P10 and P11, right on the attack against it. Have a look at the boats around the marina here in Monaco, and you can see the swimming pool at Swimming Pool Chicane. And once again, they're all following right behind one another. The gap in P1, nearly 11.7, and I'm sure it will only be a matter of time before it is that, and there you go, now reaching that. But DRS once again active for the Prema. Blake Stevenson, he's lost a significant amount of time out of the exit of turn 19 at what is Anthony Nohes, but unfortunately he'll need to gain some of that back. Makes contact with a barrier through turn 1. I wonder if Prema could potentially have some damage from that. We'll have to keep an eye out through the couple of corners here. It doesn't look like any real damage to his front wing. Looks like Bags Liddell was looking for an opportunity, didn't get it secured, and stays in P10 for the time being. What about turn 5 of Mirabeau? Does he send it? He does not send it. Looks like Jabiza also thought about coming back at Ven having no problems, staying cautious, staying aware, and a missing front wing for the Red Bull livery MP Motorsport. It could be one of the main reasons he's been having so much trouble out on track, just needing to brake so much earlier compared to a lot of other cars. And though we'll have a higher top speed by having a less downforcey car, the drag would not help him through the corners, and unfortunately is starting to unsettle the car as he starts to make the exit. Looks like Bags Liddell up to P9, making a fantastic move around the outside on Prema in P10. Have a look at this. Combined YT on the outside line through to turn 12 of Tebek. Move is set in stone. More end plates taking off around here in Monaco. No DNFs. Has been a fantastic race. Lap 15 of 15. RBR is currently going through the second sector. He's well and truly ahead of the rest of the field by 12.4 seconds. Banana Cake Pie is 39 seconds down the road. Currently being controlled by an AI, so we'll have to wait and see if he can get back into the lobby. If not, we'll make sure to re-invite him at some point very, very soon. We'll make sure to come back to RBI. He's currently going through swimming pool section. What I can say is Presso and Roscoe Arm still fighting away. Let's go to swimming pool section. It's starting to reach Larascas, and what I can say, RBR took P1, took pole through OSQ, does spin it indeed, but shouldn't be an issue either way. Gets it going once again, just getting a bit too excited, revving the car, going left and right. The Alpine knows he's taken P1, and it is the win for RBR here at the first race of 2. Monaco goes towards ART GP. It goes towards RBR, and he takes the win here in Monaco. Levi Tiger Pants takes P3, the penalty affecting him, and Matt Plevey and RBR ART GP finish in a P1, P2 formation. Round of applause to ART GP. Levi Tiger Pants finishing in P3, P4 Prezo, P5 is Roscoe Arm, not close enough to get the move done on Prezo. P6 will be Seb Spy nicer. And here comes all the penalties. Let's switch over to the penalty tab. See how we're doing. Some of them have 9 seconds. Bags Liddell could actually get a decent chance at picking up P7 here, but he has to be wary because right now Combined YT and Blake Stevenson still right on the rear of all of the drivers. This could be a fantastic opportunity. I mean, even for Snickersbud, he has no penalty against the name. He's right behind him as well. How will this turn out? Ven's in P7 across the line. Bags Liddell takes P7. Combined YT takes P7. And it does look like, if I'm not wrong, it is, yes. Snickersbud does take P7 away, a man who was, what, P12 across the line? Fantastic, using the penalties for his advantage, and what a way to finish the one of 2 races here in Monaco. But we are not done yet. Super Softs to Softs, a one-stop strategy, 3.337 kilometers in distance has come to an end. Give it all up for RBR, who does pick up the win here on the first race, but we are not done yet. We should keep a decent eye out for the points. Right now, if we have a look at where RBR is on the calendar, which will, or not on the calendar, sorry, on the driver's standings, we'll make sure to point him out somewhere. Doesn't look like he's too high up at the moment, actually. He might not even be on the championship standings. I could driver filling in at the moment, and it looks like that may be the case. However, the case may be, if we also have a look at the points, he's picked up 30 points for P1 in the team standings. ART picking up P1 and P2. That is 30 points and 23 points. So right now, provisionally, they've picked up 53 points, and Virtuoso did not have such a great race. P4 and P5, that's still good, but compared to ART getting the P1 and P2, they just didn't manage the best result, and ART did literally everything they could. They even took fastest lap at the very end of it. Either way, feature race goes in the hand of ART GP. Virtuoso not too far off. Constructors still in the favour of P1 and P2, and that will help out picking up 53 points. Like I said, still decent points for Virtuoso, but ART takes it. And with that now settled, nothing else to really consider about the championship and point standings. Congrats to ART, that's going to continue to push in this championship. But what I can mention, here in F2, here for one of 2 races, if we go down to the weekend format, it clearly says 2 races. We're off to Monza next in Italy. So from the French almost sub-country, because it is the second smallest country in the entire world, Monaco, we go over to a much larger country, one that used to rule the world. Seas would, skies would. I'm not going to start doing lyrics from Coldplay, but what I will say is we're off to Italy, we're off to Monza, we're off to the second race of 2. And here is how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Race 2 at track 2. Here's how it works. So it's the same amount of distance. We're going to have 35%. As you can see, we've got no qualifying session. This is because we're going to take the results from the first race, and you're going to reverse the top 10 from the grid. So take RBR, who has won the race, right? Excellent information, high energy commentary. Thanks. I mean, to be honest, this is quite low energy for me, but we're going to try and, I mean, Monaco is so hard to have high energy for when, you know, making overtakes is quite a hard one to do. But we're trying to keep it up. I appreciate the compliment. And, yeah, we keep pushing. But either way, 35% race, right, reverse grid for the top 10 of the last race, right? So, top 10, so let's take RBR and take Matt Plevey. They'll be in, well, it's not 20 grid, but let's say it was a 20 driver grid. They'd start P20 and 19, right? And then anyone that finished in the top 10 would now start P20 down to P11, and then your top 10 would start onwards from there. So obviously points apply for each race. So technically, for an entire Grand Prix, entire weekend worth of racing, you actually technically get double points. So let's say RBR picks up another win, even starting at the very back of the field, then it would be double points for him, and he'd pick up 60 points in total, and that's not including fastest lap, which would be an extra point, so 32 points in total. Setups are the presets, like I've mentioned before, so they can't actually have a custom setup. They can only choose between the 5 presets, you know, max downforce, mainly downforce, you know, in the middle. Then you've got a bit more top speed, and maximum top speed. And obviously around Monza, around the Temple of Speed as it's nicknamed, what do you think they're going to go for? They're going to go for maximum top speed. It would be the most logical answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. The lights go out and it's pedal to metal here around Monza, here around Italy, here around the Temple of Speed. Once again, Blake Stevenson getting quite a bad getaway. Combined YT getting an even worse one. Right now in P4 using the outside line, inside line for Snickers, but he is going to be late on the brakes. Really late on the brakes, and you can see he's up to P1, but he's picked up 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Baxadell back through P1. Looks like Snickers Bud being respectful and allowing all the drivers through. However, look at Combined YT right on the slipstream, right on the rear diffuser of Blake Stevenson. Can the Prema driver get overtaken here by Combined YT in the Trident? Looks like Trident will stay in P3 going into the chicane. We'll have to keep an eye out for that one because they are right on the tail of one another, and this could still be a very close finish. Looks like Seb Spice is also starting to get closer towards Combined YT in P3. We'll have to keep an eye out on that one, like I just said before. But what a start to a race, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of action to get us kicking here in the Temple of Speed, here in Monza, here in Italy. And what I can tell you, Seb Spicer is just starting to approach him closer and closer. That slipstream in tow clearly showing some type of advantage towards Seb Spicer. The compound allocation is a little different. You only have mediums and softs to play with. Super softs has now been disabled. One of the only tracks is Monaco to use super softs. Banana Cake Pie up to P11, inside line for Seb Spicer. Can he make a move for the podium positions? Sends it down the inside, late on the brakes, using the apex towards his advantage. It looks like High Tech GP is going to have it, and its podium position secured for Seb Spicer. Fantastic job. Bagladell up to P1. High Tech GP's on an absolute roll to try and get away. And it actually isn't. It's Carlin that I meant to say, or actually Campos. There's so many F2 teams to try and keep an eye on, but got the answer at the very end of it. Blake Stevenson in P2, 8/10 behind Bagladell. Seb Spicer wants to keep making moves up through the field. How is Matt Plevey doing? He's already up to P7. He started second last on the grid in P12. Then in P13, he's out of this Grand Prix, and we have our first DNF of the section. It looks like another driver might be missing out here. No, it is just someone coming into the pit lane. Let's go further back up the field. Looks like a bit of lag for someone leaving the session. It was Ven. Matt Plevey making contact to the rear tires of Levi Tiger Pants in P6. P6 continuing to try and make it through the field. Medium compounds currently on the F2 tires as he continues to try and push as hard as he possibly can. Now, let's go through it. Going through the second Lesmos of Monza, having a fantastic race so far. Keep an eye on Levi Tiger Pants because he could continue to make moves through the field. Prezzo in now P9, making the move, getting a bit more momentum out of the exit of second Lesmos, and now through what is the Variante Ascari chicane. It is well and truly secured in P9. Let's go further through the field. Have a look at this. Matt Plevey on the outside line. Can he make a move? Stick on the board. P7 is where he currently sits. Going to try and be late on the brakes. Sick gear, 304 kilometers per hour. It shows you the speed that you can carry in F2 cars, even here at Monza. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Levi Tigermans has the advantage. Matt Plevey has the DRS. Can he use the move to try and make it onto T1 and T2 chicane? DRS enabled. Now using the inside line. Can Alfa Romeo's liveried F2 car make the move? Using down in the 100-meter brake board. Can he do it? Now outside line, stays on it, uses the curve towards his advantage. Matt Plevey is P6. Chabiza P12. He's now out of this race. RBR's done a fantastic job behind his teammate. Obviously, for obvious reasons, starting in last place. But what I will tell you, they're making their way through the field nice and swiftly. Have a look at this inside line for Prezo F1. Can he make the move going through the next chicane? Doesn't look like he can get it done fully. Just out of the exit of Variante Della Roggia, and still right on the attack of the other cars. Looks like Snickers Buzz trying to bring himself closer. Can't do it. Have a look at the inside line for Banana Cake Pie. Looking for an opportunity. He is going to break early. Still right there with him. Let's go further back up all over again to 2.5 tenths currently separate Roscoe Arm in the Alpine livery car, currently borrowing Jack Houdouin's car for being specific. You can see it on the Alpine Halo. Looks like Banana Cake Pie now up to P10 as he makes another move through Snickers Bud, currently going through what is a Scary chicane. Now going onto the back straight, you can see a really good opportunity for the Alpine liveried car to make a move. Keep an eye out on Blake Stevenson. He's really starting to get close to the Red Bull livery car. Doesn't make a move. What about Roscoe Arm? Neither does the same. But now they're going to have DRS on the main straight. Like I said, even in F2 cars, they're picking up over 300 kilometers per hour here around the Temple of Speed. Looks like Roscoe Arm's going to get an opportunity. Let's switch over to the Prema driver of Blake Stevenson. Roscoe Arm is going to be neck and neck with one another. But here comes Prema. Here comes the inside line. Here comes Blake Stevenson. And P2 secure in the bag. Fantastic effort from Prema, who's now up to P2. Wow, oh wow. Fantastic stuff from Prema on the board already. Now we look at Seb Spicer, currently in P3, just trying to bring himself closer and closer and closer, flat to the floor, pedal to the metal. He could be looking for another switchback of sorts. Down in P3, stays where he is, now going through Variante Delle Roggia, and will not make any further moves. Roscoe Arm never actually ended up making the move, even with DRS, because of the fact that Combined YT also had it. Needs to try and do it through Lesmos, doesn't get it done through Lesmos 1. Can he do it through Lesmos 2? Doesn't do it through Lesmos 2. He's going to be late on the brakes. He's going to have a fantastic exit, but just like previous times, all of them have DRS right at the same time, and this is going to stop any big opportunity for Roscoe Arm to make a move. Once again, Combined YT getting close, and Seb Spicer getting close, but still nothing opening the doors. Purple in the second sector for Matt Plevey in P6 in the ART, and RBR's right behind him. ART is on an absolute roll at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Moving back through the field, looks like the Red Bull livery driver of Seb Spicer would want P2. Pardon me, want P2 back all over once again. The Red Bull currently in P3. High-Tech GP does not want to give up. Not yet, not ever. Here we go, Seb Spicer. Another opportunity to prove your worth here in Formula 2. Here for the F2 Sprint Series. Here in here in Race Spec Esports, using the inside DRS to his advantage. RBR picks up a 5-second penalty. Not what you want for your Monaco race winner. Down the inside goes the Red Bull. High-Tech GP do take P2, and Seb Spicer's up into a higher podium position. Looks like Blake Stevenson now down to P3, trying to give it his absolute all. Clearly not everything he's possibly got, but he's trying either way. Combined YT currently in P4, trying to bring himself closer and closer. Clearly isn't close enough. Roscoe Arm out of the exit, now coming into the pit lane on fresh new medium compounds. He could have the advantage, but there's only 6 laps remaining in this Grand Prix, so he needs to do more and more than what he's currently... Pardon me, Jesus. What he's currently doing on the grid. Either way, Levi Tiger Pants currently in P9. Soft compound running for him. Same for BCP. Same for RBR. And now also for Snickers Bud. Bags Adele right out in P1, but not by a huge gap. Well, we say that, have a look down in Roscoe Arm. 26 seconds separating the medium compound runners to right up where the soft compounds runners are. I mean, RBR only 9 tenths away, but Bags Adele pretty much has a very free reign to try and win this race here in the F2 Sprint Series. This could be an epic opportunity for Bags Adele to win, where we've seen it so many chances in the past. Can he do it all over again? Seb Spicer in the High-Tech GP would obviously not want to make that happen. No penalties against no one's names. Bags Adele does now come into the pit lane, and probably a perfect opportunity to do so. Now Campos down to P2. Seb Spicer now takes the lead of the Monza Grand Prix. Matt Plivy now is going to take P2. Multiple people coming into the pit lane. Roscoe Arm is going to be attacked by RBR, who's currently in P8, and keep an eye out because we're going to see more people take Matt Plivy. By the way, we should really mention this. How is this snuck by our eyes? Matt Plivy's up 7 positions. He started P12, he's now P2, he's nearly... Oh, he hasn't started P12, must have been some other people who may have had some disqualifications, whatever the case may be. Matt Plivy did finish P2 after penalties, but not starting P12, but rather starting P2, or no, not starting P2. Currently in P2. I'm getting my words mumbled. No, I'm not numbled, Jesus. English is messing up here. Let's get back to the race at hand. Either way, Matt Plivy is up to P2 after making 7 positions on what is those medium compounds. Will they still work in his favour? Well, Bags Liddell has 23 seconds to make up. It really depends on how long that pit lane wants to be for the drivers who do decide to stop. Bags Liddell is P3 now with soft compounds, but at 23.7 seconds down, like I just mentioned before, is not really what you want to do to get the perfect strategy run here. Plenty of opportunity for these drivers to try and get into the pit lane and stay out in front, and I'd really suggest to them coming into the pit lane, because if you don't come in now, you're going to continue to lose more and more time, and you're going to continue to end up having it less and less. I expect Matt Plivy to be in. He is in, and this is the chase for Bags Liddell, currently in P3. Campos is on the chase. Campos is on the run. Can he get an opportunity to potentially take the lead here in Monza? 23.4 seconds. Seb Spicer now getting the call out any second. He's gone, and Seb Spicer now making his way out any moment now. Looks like Bags Liddell back out onto the pit straight. It's going to be a close exit here. This is going to be Hamilton Verstappen close here on the exit of the pit straight. Will Seb Spicer be on a battle? No. It is Bags Liddell back up to P1 though. Fantastic strategy, paying off brilliantly. Looks like the Premier Blake Stevenson, using the braking to his advantage on the outside line. Thought about potentially making a move, but now it's Blake versus RBR, who's now up to P2. Fantastically enough, he has got a penalty against his name, which does not work in his favor, but the ART GP car has had a much better strategy than what his teammate has had, who's now down to P11. If RBR can make this work, then right now we could be looking at a 2-time winner out of 2 races. Fantastic job if he does so, but he still has a little while to go. 4 laps remaining. Well, I mean 5 if we're counting the end of this lap so far. Didn't know you streamed Race Spec JP. I only started up since last Saturday, Sunday, so I'm pretty new to it all, but I like the F2 Sprint Series a bit more than what I've currently experienced in the Tier 2 Endurance. If we saw that, 2 finishes by the end of the race, and you know, drivers can have a laugh about that, but let's not get into it. Let's just not get into it. We're currently commentating the F2 Sprint Series. Let's stick to the F2 Sprint Series. RBR 2.5 tenths off Bags Liddell in P1. Campos Racing is on the defense. RBR is on the attack. Here we go. RBR's going to get DRS. He's going to get a perfect slipstream in tow. Now using it towards his advantage. A 131.856 as fast as lap. Now using the inside line towards his advantage. Can RBR stick it on the board correctly? No problems at all. Going into the braking zone, RBR takes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, and Monza is secure in his palms of his hands. Bags Liddell still needs to try and stick inside that 3-second gap. If not, RBR could become a 2-time winner in 2 races. Looks like a mistake for potentially Levi Tiger Pants, has multiple positions now lost for the man in the orange and black car for driving for VAR. 600s down going into Della Roggia, and I'll tell you what, let's get a bit more telemetry on the board. We've seen the fastest lap currently somewhere in the 30s. It's actually quite similar because the lap record currently in the race was a 1:39.82 by Matsushita in 2017 for the Formula 2 season. Monza is actually quite a longer one compared to Monaco, 5.793 kilometers in distance. Like we said before, there's only a wow, I really cannot speak. There is only a compound allocation of mediums to softs, so there really isn't too much of a choice. Looks like a bit of lag now seems Roscoe Arms up to P5 potentially, but it isn't done yet. Levi Tiger Pants right on the attack, right on the rear diffuser of the Alpine S car. Invicta won't want to give up. VAR don't want to give up. Lap 8 of 11. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Still about to enter lap 9. RBR coming around what is known as the Parabolica, one of the most famous corners in the entirety of Formula 1, not including Eau Rouge, of course. Here we go, though. DRS active, using the slipstream and tow towards his advantage. No battery, no hybrid system on these V6s. Levy, Tiger Pants, Jesus, Tiger Pants. Oh! Contact right at the front of the field. Looks like, oh, who is it again? I can't see it. Bags Liddell's losing too many positions to really keep count of it. But it is Bags Liddell. Down to P7 now. Unfortunately, he was fighting away in P1 with RBR, but now he's down to P7. Unfortunate for what looks to be, Campos Racing. Unfortunate for him, who's now needing to fight through the midfield all over again. RBR still has 7.5 tenths separating between him and P2. The real question is, who's at fault for that incident? Was it Bags Liddell, or was it RBR all in the very front of the field? We'll have to keep an eye out, because right now RBR seems to be unfazed, and the other man seemed to have spun round down to P7. He goes. Good racing we saw right before. Unfortunately, we were interrupted by a bad incident, but no one has retired and no one has picked up too much damage, so overall not too bad a result. But for one man, I'm sure he's disappointed. P2 down to P7. He's lost 5 positions because of potential contact. Either way, lap 9 of 11. Hey, that's a funny number, 9-11. Reminds me of something that happened on September many years ago. Anyway, let's go back to the action out on hand. You can see Seb Spicer in High-Tech GP really starting to tow himself along closer and closer per lap. 4.5 tenths nearly on the dot. Seb Spicer's got DRS open, but so does Blake Stevenson. Seb will be getting a much better tow from it because of the fact that RBR does not have DRS, but still not close enough to make a move. Aerodynamics are just not strong enough in these regulation of F2 cars, but close enough for their standards. Roscoe Arm currently 6 tenths off VAR of Levi Tiger Pants, my apologies, who is 3.7 seconds off Blake Stevenson, and Blake Stevenson's actually closer to Seb Spicer than Seb Spicer is to P1, so that could also be a spicy P3 way battle that we could be seeing by the end of this race. Speaking of penultimate lap so far, lap 10 of 11, this is really going to start tightening up by the end of this race, ladies and gentlemen. We're nearly coming to a close. We've had Monaco, we're about to have Monza. It was a fantastic race to commentate, and a much better showing from Race Spec. I was almost a bit disappointed with how it showed in Tier 2 Endurance, but much better showing today. Definitely more than 2 drivers finishing the race. There was only 2 drivers that exited the race, so overall not a bad job from these drivers out here in the F2 Spec Series. Either way, Seb Spicer has a single lap to try and get past RBR here in P1, getting right close to the rear. Diffuser opens up nice and wide. Does look like it could be a potential mistake, and it is a mistake for RBR. This could be it. Does have a penalty against his name. DRS is going to give him the advantage he needed all along. Have a look at this side by side. Looks like it is now move made by Seb Spicer to take P1 away from the Alpine styled livery. Blake Steven isn't too far behind going into turn 1, turn 2 chicane. Here comes Blake Stevenson, wheel to wheel on the inside line. Just gets a bit too much wheel spin, kicks out the rear, and now he stays in P3. But what I will tell you, he's fighting. He wants to try and win this race, and RBR in P1. If Seb Spicer does not overtake P1, this could be Blake Stevenson's race, and what an underdog story that would be. Completely counted out. He was there in the background. He was there waiting for all the action to settle, and now with it all spicing up, Blake wants a piece of it. He wants to potentially win this race. He's now 5 tenths down on his time. Seb Spicer's still there. 2 tenths separating High-Tech GP and ART GP. Here we go. DRS active, going wheel to wheel, inside line for the Red Bull driver. Nothing really needing to confuse it. RBR now down to P2. The Alpine livery driver once again potentially going to be attacked by Blake Stevenson out of the exit of Ascari chicane. 5.793 kilometers in race distance. It does seem like it's going to go Seb Spicer's way. Is there going to be a long late distance lunge going for P1? Outside line for RBR. Right there you can see Blake Stevenson wants an opportunity. Seb Spicer's not going to give it up. The Red Bull of High-Tech GP will take it. Monza is won by Seb Spicer. Blake Stevenson P2, and RBR 5 seconds not served, and it is now going to be P5 for the ART GP driver. P4 Roscoe Arm, P6 Bags Adele, P7 Banana Cake Pie, P8 Matt Plevey, P9 Presso. We're going to see the rest of the results as we go into the timing sheets. But ladies and gentlemen, done and done. The championship is looking well and truly spread out throughout the field. Matt Plevey currently leading us away with 143 points on the board for the F2 Pacific Series. Right now, not looking so secure. If we have a look where Seb Spicer is, you can see he's currently got 90 points on the board. With this win, 30 points. That is a lovely 120 points to his name, and I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. And saying that Roscoe Arm and Aiden is Raiden not really there for the race. I mean, you had Roscoe Arm that was there, but struggled throughout the midfield. Aiden getting Aiden didn't even show up. So right now, Seb is looking like he will take P2 in the standings, and that is a fantastic jump from where he was right before. Podium, spreading champagne throughout the fans and team, clearly happy with that one. And this time round, there was no ART even on the podium. Closest was RBR, who technically on road did finish in P2 using the 5-second penalties, did finish in P5. So victory in Monaco for RBR, victory in Monza for Seb Spicer. F2 Sprint Series once again comes to a close here in Race Spec. Wow, that was some fantastic racing on display, what we love to see. Don't worry about the points in the game. Points are a bit different when it comes to the actual league itself, but a couple of big teams and big names do miss out on decent points. Roscoe Arm did finish in P4, and P4 does pick up 17 points, but compared to 30 for what is Seb Spicer, it does look like it is going to work in the favour of Seb Spicer picking up P2 in the standings. Either way, it does look like Roscoe Arm is going to keep P3. Aiden is now down to P4 because of the fact that he wasn't available for clearly this Grand Prix. It's took a big toll on his points, and the margin is much different compared to where this race started. This Grand Prix started where 2 races took place. Double points did not work in double points for any driver's favour, did not pick up the same amount of points as they did in the first race, and all positions were pretty much split differently between the drivers. But either way, after what has been a fantastic race of action, ladies and gentlemen, do we do interviews? I should have asked this, but I don't think we do interviews, right? Do we do interviews? I guess that'd be kind of tricky, wouldn't it? If you have podium for one race and podium for another. So I'd assume there isn't, and if there is, and me ending stream is a mistake, I will apologize on my behalf. Like I said, I should also mention, right, apologies for the stream that happened on Sunday with Tier 2 Endurance. But, you know, that what happened, and to be honest, the racing was suboptimal, would be a nice way of putting it. But however the case may be, it is what it is. Fantastic showing in the F2 Sprint Series, and I knew that Race Spec had better racing than that. I've been told that there was better racing than that, and I've been proven right on every single point that was given to me. So we'll call it bad luck, and it is what it is. But thank you all for watching this Grand Prix. Thank you all for watching both races. For anyone that did tune into the stream, I know there's only three concurrent viewers at this current time, so we appreciate your loyalty to Race Spec Esports. I appreciate your loyalty. It's always nice to get some viewers in there, and if there isn't, then that is what it is. But whatever the case may be, thank you all for watching. My name's been Jamie Perry. You can call me JP. Either way, stream comes to an end. I appreciate your devoted loyalty, and yeah, goodbye.